Alright, lesson 13 already. So in this lesson, quite simply, we're going to be talking about playing some of the major chords. I'm reading them on the staff, the treble clef and bass clef. So in the theory lesson before, I think it was theory, I want to say lesson 2, I talked about what basically a major triad was. So this lesson is basically just to give you practice playing some, some pretty common major triads. And I'll make some videos in the future playing minor triads and diminished triads and other kinds of major triads as well. But today's just to kind of get your feet wet with major triads. So anyway, I'll see you in a second. Back at the keyboard once again. Today we're going to actually be practicing playing some major triads on the keyboard. If you remember the triad from the theory lesson we did, it's made up of 3 notes, a root, a third, and a fifth. And there's different kinds of triads. There's major, minor, augmented, and diminished. Today we're just going to be talking about major chords, like I said, and getting practice doing those. So basically the theory lessons are when I'm going to explain kind of how things work, and the piano lessons are more for playing these things in practice. So here I have written 7 different chords, 7 different major chords, and these are all major chords where the root, or the first, is a white key. Now there's a whole different set of major triads with some starting on black keys, but we won't do that until later. So today, let's take a look here at the thing I wrote up for us. The first chord we have here is the C major triad. I just want you to practice the chords on this page just so you're more familiar with them. So the C major triad is going to have C as its root, the third is going to be E, and then G is going to be the fifth. I also have the left hand written out for you. I would practice these hands separate, go through the right hand ones, and then go through the left hand ones, and then play them at the same time, just so you can board both with your right hand, left hand, and combined. So here we have the C major triad, right hand, with fingers 1 on C, 3 on E, and 5 on G. With left hand, it's going to be 5 on C, 3 on E, and 1 on G. Remember, if you have to go over finger numbers, go back to that previous lesson and review that. Or if you're confused on anything I'm talking about, you might want to go back to one of the previous videos and find out where I was talking about it, and just kind of review that, because I'm just going to kind of go ahead from now on, rather than re-explaining everything. So the next chord we have is the D major triad, which is D with finger 1 in the right hand. Finger 3 is going to play F sharp. And finger 5 is going to play A. So you play those all at the same time. And there you have a D major triad. Remember, with a major triad, you're going to have 4 half steps between the first and the third, and 7 half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, between the first and the fifth. So let's play the left hand version of that chord. We have D, F sharp, A, 5 with D, 3 with F sharp, and 1 with A. Now we're going to keep moving right along. We have the E major triad, which is E, G sharp, B, and you can take a look at the picture I have here to figure out what kind of, what the fingering is. So here is that same chord with the left hand, moving right along. We have the next F major chord, which is going to be F, A, C. You can play that with the right hand. You're going to play it with the left hand. Like I said, the fingering's written there for you. G major chord is going to be G, B, D. Left hand, same thing, G, B, D. The next chord is going to be A major chord. It's going to be comprised of A is the root, C sharp is the third, and E is the fifth. Now let's play that with our left hand. And now the last chord we'll talk about today is the B major chord. So a B major chord is going to actually have 2 sharps. First you're going to start on B, and then you're going to have D sharp and F sharp. And we do that just because of where B is positioned, just to make sure we have the right amount of half steps between our first and the third and the first and the fifth. If you don't know what I'm talking about, once again, I believe I talked about this in the second theory lesson. Maybe it's the first, but I do have them titled, so you should be able to find that out. I don't know that for offhand right now. So here we have the same thing with our left hand. So if you notice, I went kind of quick once we got started through the chords. I want you, before the next lesson, to go through, I'm actually going to post this image as an attachment or something, or maybe I'll link to it somehow. And I want you to take this sheet and I want you to practice all of these chords, all, with the right hand and the left hand. And then I'll get you practice playing major triads, starting with a white note. Like I said, there's a whole nother set where you start with black notes, but we'll talk about those later. Today we're just going to get our feet wet with that subject. So there you go. These are just a few of the major chords, playing them on the piano and seeing what they look like written on the staff. Okay, so that concludes lesson 13 already. So today, quite simply, all we talked about was playing major triads on the treble clef and bass clef with our right and left hand. Next time, I'm not exactly sure what we're doing. I think we'll be talking about reading flat notes, notes that are flat on the treble clef and bass clef, just to give you a little more experience with that. And then I think I'll write up some more playing examples for us to do, and then maybe some theory lessons after that. So anyway, like I always say, I hope you learned something, hope you had fun, and I'll see you at the next lesson. Thank you for watching.